The Celtics have made a flurry of moves this offseason that are based on one-year deals. Bringing in Chris Dunn, he's on a one-year deal. Josh Richardson on a one-year deal. Enes Kanter's on a one-year deal. Dennis Schroeder's on a one-year deal. Horford is on a deal that is not fully guaranteed next season, so you can move that money around a little bit and make that less of a hit. Do you think this offseason for the Celtics has been entirely about Bradley Beal? Do you think that is what they're positioning themselves to do next summer?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that that's kind of the goal. And even if Bradley Beal isn't available, because he has a player option, right? And say for some reason the Wizards are okay and he's like, no, I want to stick it out here, which I think would be stupid. There are a couple other, okay names they could go for. The 2023 free agency class is significantly better, but the likes of, Zach LaVine, Terry Rozier, Aaron Gordon are available next year. Obviously none at the level of Bradley Beal, but say that falls through, the Celtics will still have a good amount of cap space to work with, and they could form out a good team around the Jays. But I think it's pretty clear that the mindset of Brad Stevens is, okay, 2022, Bradley Beal, let's get that done. Just don't sign any big deals right now and look forward to that next year.
Yeah, I personally think that that's everything that this offseason's been about, that the Celtics are preparing to start a full court press for Bradley Beal. I don't know how you could read it any other way. Why would you not give certain players, like if Dennis Schroeder is seeking a player option, obviously they got it done anyway, so they didn't need to give him a player option to get it done. But they are adamant, vehement, we can't give you another year on this deal. They don't really chase Fournier too aggressively. It seemed like they were content letting him walk out the door when he was getting multiple years on his contract. So from every standpoint, the Celtics have been setting themselves up to have a lot of cap space next summer, and it's hard to read that any other way than they are fully focused on bringing Bradley Beal to the Celtics next year, doing whatever it takes to get that deal done.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, we've obviously heard all this noise about a Marcus Smart extension too. I think ideally Brad Stevens waits to re-sign Marcus Smart. That way you can sign Bradley Beal, and then after that's done, you could, kind of do the off-season magic every team does, where then you'd be able to re-sign Marcus Smart as well because you have his bird rights and you can go over the cap. So,
but I think would his cap hit be too much to do that? I think, wouldn't it be that Marcus Smart, or cap hold rather, I think his cap hold would be, what is it? Is usually 125% of the previous contract, so he'd still count against 125% of whatever it be, $15 million against the cap, unless they renounced his rights, I believe. So that might even be hard to do. Like the reason the Heat were able to do it with Duncan Robinson was because he was coming off that rookie scale deal. So it was easy to do that and then sign him to that big money deal.
Yeah, it'd definitely be difficult, but I think with the cap space you'd get from obviously all the players you said, Kanter off the books, Schroeder off the books, Staric off the books, and then you could also probably look into moving Horford at that point if you wanted to. So that would obviously clear more than enough space to get Smart back as well. So I think the reason Brad Stevens made all these moves is to make it so there are options next offseason to not only get Bradley Beal, but also bring Marcus Smart back, which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that'd be the ideal offseason. As much as I say, oh, Marcus Smart's a tradable contract, oh, I wouldn't give him this much. Obviously, I love Marcus Smart. Obviously, he's important to this team, and obviously, I think he can do a great job at point guard. And if he does that, I think he's probably the perfect point guard you want next to a core of Beal, Tatum, and Brown because of that defense he brings too. So I'm hoping that's the plan for Brad Stevens next summer, but only time will tell, I suppose.
And the great thing about bringing in guys like Dennis Schroeder, guys like Josh Richardson is we talk about them positioning themselves to chase Bradley Beal. But to me, I would argue that they haven't done so at the expense of next season. They brought in good NBA players around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they've improved their supporting cast from what it was last season, and that is factoring in the fact that Kemba Walker was not 100%, was not out there as much, and was not the same player. If he's the all-star, I might see that a little bit differently, but they've done a nice job improving the bench, which was brutal last season. You're talking about potentially bringing either Dennis Schroeder or Josh Richardson off the bench with Peyton Pritchard, with Al Horford, and with Aaron Nesmith, who we just saw in Summer League, we'll talk about a little bit later, really played well. I think set a Celtics Summer League record for points in a Summer League game. So that we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But you're talking about the team next season. I don't think they've done things like bring in, guys that aren't good on one-year deals and just packed it in for next season. They've made significant moves while also positioning themselves to make a run at Bradley Beal, and that's perhaps what's most impressive about what Brad Stevens has done so far.